What's up, Rams fans? We've just wrapped up OTAs, but the front office might be far from done making moves to secure our roster before training camp kicks off. There is some massive information circulating about potential veteran additions that could completely change the outlook of our offensive line and receiving core. Could a reunion with a former teammate be exactly what we need to chase another ring? You won't want to miss the details on who could be heading to LA. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Let's dive into this situation. The Los Angeles Rams are currently navigating a critical phase of the 2026 offseason as OTAs conclude, forcing the front office to evaluate potential roster holes that could be addressed before training camp begins. In previous years, this specific window has been when the organization identifies gaps and makes decisive free agent signings, such as those of Akella Witherspoon and Demarcus Robinson. As the team looks at the current depth chart, two primary areas demand attention: the WR3 position and the stability of the left tackle spot. The urgency regarding the latter has intensified significantly following the recent arrest of Alaric Jackson. While there is external chatter about the team potentially pursuing wide receiver Stephon Diggs to provide an immediate upgrade over Xavier Smith, the focus remains on protecting quarterback Matthew Stafford. With Alaric Jackson facing the possibility of a league-mandated suspension due to potential personal conduct policy violations, the Rams must prepare for the eventuality that their starting left tackle will be unavailable. This creates a clear and immediate need for a veteran presence to anchor the blind side. While names like Joe Noteboom exist as potential insurance, the search for a proven starter points toward Taylor Decker. Having spent 10 seasons with the Detroit Lions, Taylor Decker represents the most viable solution if the team decides to move on from their current internal situation. As the organization weighs its financial commitments and roster needs, the prospect of securing a reliable veteran like Taylor Decker has become a primary topic of discussion. The team is currently in a holding pattern, waiting for clarity on Jackson. But the necessity of solidifying the offensive line remains the most critical strategic concern for the Rams moving forward in these summer months. The pursuit of Taylor Decker as a potential starter is not a decision the Los Angeles Rams would take lightly, especially considering the current market landscape for left tackles. It is rare to find high-quality starting caliber players at this position sitting in free agency at this point in the year. If the team determines that Taylor Decker is the right answer, he would not be brought in as a backup to Alaric Jackson. He would be signed with the expectation of immediately stepping into the starting left tackle role. This move matters right now because the offensive line's performance is the foundation of the passing attack. And with Matthew Stafford entering another campaign, protecting the interior and the perimeter is paramount. The familiarity between the two players is undeniable, as Taylor Decker and Matthew Stafford played together in Detroit starting in 2016 and developed a close bond. When Matthew Stafford was traded, he personally contacted only two teammates, one of whom was Taylor Decker. While past signings like Jonah Jackson demonstrate that familiarity does not always guarantee success, the deep professional relationship here suggests a potential for high-level chemistry. At 32 years old, Taylor Decker could offer the stability needed for a one-year stint, allowing the team to navigate the current uncertainty surrounding Alaric Jackson. However, the Rams are constrained by their current financial situation, holding only $18.9 million in available cap space for the remainder of the season. To secure Taylor Decker, whose market value is estimated by SpotRack at $21.3 million, the front office would likely need to restructure existing contracts or clear significant funds, especially while simultaneously considering potential financial negotiations involving Aaron Donald. Bringing in Taylor Decker would be a major commitment that reflects the team's immediate desire to remain competitive in 2026. Understanding why the Detroit Lions parted ways with Taylor Decker is essential to evaluating his potential fit in Los Angeles. During the recent offseason, the Lions elected not to bring him back, primarily due to concerns regarding his production relative to a $20 million price tag. The team requested that he accept a pay cut, but the two parties were unable to find common ground, leading to his availability. Furthermore, scouts and analysts have noted a decline in his performance last year, which coincided with his return from a shoulder injury. Specifically, Taylor Decker recorded a 69.5 pass-blocking grade via PFF, which was nearly 10 points lower than his performance in the previous 2 years. Additionally, he allowed 28 quarterback hurries, the highest total for him in a single season since 2018. These numbers reflect the risk involved in a potential signing, as the Rams would be betting on a veteran who is looking to rebound from a statistically down year. Despite these concerns, he remains widely considered the best available option for a team in need of a starter at left tackle. The Rams must determine if this decline in performance is a permanent regression or simply the result of playing through physical setbacks. If the team decides to proceed, they would need to navigate the financial reality of his contract expectations. Even if they could negotiate a deal around $15 million, it would still necessitate significant internal salary cap adjustments. The Rams are essentially calculating whether the veteran experience of Taylor Decker provides enough of an upgrade over current internal alternatives to justify the cost and the logistical effort of clearing cap space. This careful balancing act is emblematic of the challenges the organization faces as it prepares for the upcoming season, balancing high-stakes roster needs against limited financial flexibility and historical player performance data. As the Rams weigh their options, they must decide if they are willing to commit the necessary resources to bring in a veteran like Taylor Decker. This is a classic win-now consideration. The uncertainty surrounding Alaric Jackson is the catalyst for all of these discussions, yet the team remains committed to the hope that he can be the starter. However, the internal planning for a potential suspension is not just a secondary concern. It is a fundamental part of the team's strategy. By having a contingency plan in the form of a veteran like Taylor Decker, the organization protects itself from a catastrophic drop-off in production at the most important position on the offensive line. The fans of the Rams, often heard chanting, "Ram it," when the team makes bold moves to improve the squad, would certainly recognize the gravity of such an addition. If the front office pulls the trigger, it would signal a clear prioritization of Matthew Stafford's protection over long-term financial austerity. The situation remains fluid, as the Rams are working behind the scenes on multiple fronts, potentially including negotiations with Aaron Donald, which further complicates the cap situation. It is important to note that the team is not just looking for a body to fill a spot. They are looking for a reliable, professional-grade starter who can handle the speed and power of modern edge rushers. If the league office proceeds with a suspension for Alaric Jackson, the search for a starter will intensify, and Taylor Decker will likely move to the top of the list of candidates. The Rams are preparing for every possible outcome, ensuring that if they do decide to add to the roster, they are making an informed move that maximizes their potential for the season. This is the reality of roster construction in the NFL today. Ultimately, the decision on whether to pursue Taylor Decker, or perhaps shift focus to other areas like a WR3, will depend on the final clarity provided by the league regarding Alaric Jackson. The team is in a period of evaluation where every player on the current roster is being judged against the reality of a demanding season. The potential addition of an experienced left tackle like Taylor Decker offers a level of stability that is hard to replicate with younger, less experienced options. Even with the reported decline in his PFF grades and the increased number of hurries allowed, he possesses a depth of experience that is rare for a free agent in June. Furthermore, the existing bond between Taylor Decker and Matthew Stafford provides an intangible benefit that might shorten the learning curve if he were to join the roster. The team's remaining $18.9 million in cap space is a tight limit to work within, especially given the financial complexities of the current roster and the ongoing behind-the-scenes work related to other key players like Aaron Donald. However, if the Rams decide that the protection of their quarterback is the most important mission of the summer, they have the tools to make it happen. The focus will remain on whether they can achieve their goals while maintaining the balance needed to be competitive throughout the long, arduous 2026 campaign. As the team waits for the next development, they continue to monitor the market for any shift that might make the acquisition of Taylor Decker more feasible. The goal is to enter training camp with a clear plan and a roster that is prepared to compete at the highest level, no matter what challenges arise in the coming weeks. The process is deliberate, focused, and dictated entirely by the factual developments occurring within the franchise and the league offices regarding their current offensive line situation.